I'd like to first of all share with people my story as an entrepreneur, not really as a cake business owner, because until I kind of figured out who I was as a person, my business did not go in the right direction. So I started my cake journey really as a teenager. When I was 15, my mom would not want me to play with the neighbors. She would register me somewhere. Go and learn this. Go and learn that. So I grew up as a teenager. She'd taken me to where I would learn how to make balloons, flower arrangements, cake. So I was beaten by that bug, okay? And I didn't even know what she was doing because I just thought this woman was punishing me. But fast forward, I entered into Unilag. I realized that it was a quick way of making money. Because when my mom wanted to buy clothes for me, and I went to Unilag, she would buy skirt suits. But for each time I was able to do a cake, I would go to the market myself and buy clothes for myself. And it gave me a bit of freedom that, I can actually make this money and take care of myself. Now, that's a long time ago. Fumi is here, we were in Unilag together, and I remember those days, very shy. I'm a complete introvert, by the way. I would go home weekends because my mom always wanted me there at home. But on Sundays, just before I went back to school, I would bake on ice platter and cut it into squares and shy Lolade. I would go from room to room. Hi, my name is Lolade. I'm selling cake. Would you like to buy? Some will hiss. Some will buy it. Some will say, come back for your money. Till today, some people are still owing me 13 naira. But that's what it was then. I had an outlet of expression, and for a long time, I was using that avenue to make good money. And so fast forward, I finished University of Lagos. I worked with the multinational Virgin Atlantic Airways, and I was there for about 5 years. And while I was there, you know how this cake thing is, will allow you to just stay. Everybody knew I was the office baker. It got so, should I say good, that even when the office needed to do a function, they would call me to do the cake. And I thought that was really nice. How are you? So that's really the story of how I got into this cake world. And because I started my entrepreneurial journey as a makeup artist, so I went into that line as well. And for the lack of a better word, I didn't have mentorship. I didn't have any sort of business knowledge. I just went into that space as someone who enjoyed doing things. And it was there and then I had to grow up. Can I hear you say grow up? Can I hear you say grow up? So the difference between you running a cake business as a business or a hobby is that you have to do something called grow up. And so why did I grow up? So first and foremost, as a makeup artist, all I needed to do was carry my makeup bag, right? Do someone's makeup. And God help me, that person should be a Bella Naija bride. What I mean by that is they should put that person's picture on Bella Naija. For that whole year, I don't have to do any advertisement. So for a long time, I realized that the kind of way I was portraying the business I was doing was attracting people. So I didn't have any problem with marketing because I learned skills like photography at a very young age in my business. But what I suffered was something called a burnout. So a lot of you are here, marketing is not your problem. The orders are coming in, okay? Because you have a certain level of visibility. People see you, they understand your products, your pricing are clear, it's very concise. What is even happening to you now is you're suffering something called a burnout. And that was what happened to me. I didn't have a life outside the bakery, And what I mean by this is you understand, cake is cake. You can't have work and just do like this and the cake is ready. There is a process. And at that time of my life, I just gotten married, started having children, and the children were coming back to back. I didn't plan it to, but that's what happened. And I found out that I was literally living in the bakery. My only saving grace was that I had a very fantastic support system. Meaning my family members were very supportive. I won't get home now. My husband will say, I'm ready to eat pounded yam. Everybody kind of supported me and they helped me where they could. But the problem was now that that was all they could do. They could pat me on the back and say, Lolade Pele. Okay, they can say, bring your son, I will help you babysit. But nobody could teach me what to do to manage my time, my staff, my energy, and the money I was making. So it meant one thing: I had to go back to school. So a lot of you are here today, and believe me, after running a cake business for over 15 years, it's just now that opportunities like this are coming up, where you have cake business owners and successful business owners and can come into an environment like this and teach you things that we need to know. We didn't have this opportunity. So everything you are hearing here today, I truly hope you're taking down notes. Because a lot of the things they've said to you here, for some time I had to sit down with people and I paid them good money to teach me these things. So can we just appreciate everybody once again? So how do you run a properly organized business? First and foremost, you need three things. You need a vision, you need a mission, and you need core values. What is mission? Why do I need mission? Go and check. Everyone doing something has a reason for why they are doing it. And if you're here today and you still don't have a mission for your business or a vision, or even let alone core values that will help you drive this vision to life, you're wasting your time. And for a long time, I knew I wanted to do things in my mind. I knew every time I wanted to do a cake, I wanted it to be pretty, I wanted it to look neat, okay? But that's not enough. A lot of you understand what you want to do, it's all in your mind. But you need to now take a pen and a paper and write it down. So what's the difference between a mission and a vision? I teach this in my bakery business structure class. Now, we all had a vision today, right? A vision is to be part of this incredible seminar and know how to move our cake businesses forward, right? Good. So we can say that's long term, isn't it? But there's something we needed to do, which is to get up this morning, take a bath, look nice, and head on to this venue, right? So your vision is very long-sighted. It's something that you plan to achieve for doing this business you're doing. While your mission are your daily to-dos, those things you need to do on a bite-sized basis that will take you to your destination. So you see the difference. I always use Amazon as an example. I love to shop online. I remember those days when I would go and have my kids abroad. All I will do is, once there's money in that card, not today, I love the online space. And I used to shop a lot on Amazon. Everything, even down to baby food, I would shop there. And so when I was going on this journey, I had to look at what their vision was as a company and their mission. And they said to be the world's biggest place online where you can come in and find anything you want. And then something struck me. They are all about customer care. And because they're all about customer care, they're so customer-centric. Everything they do is centered around the customer. Buy something, you don't want it again. They're ready to come and pick it up from you. They are ready to, return your money back at the drop of any complaint. Okay? So that's important. So if you ask me now, what is the vision or the mission of Dainty Affairs? It's very simple. I had to sit down because I was sure I did not want to copy anybody. Because we are all here, we all bake, right? A lot of us bake. But we are all unique. We are all what? What we bring to the table is very unique. So I knew I didn't want to copy. So I sat down in a quiet place and I began to think, what are the things I enjoy doing? What are the things that come naturally to me? Okay, if people just wake me up, Lolade, do this. If 10 people call me now, what are they going to call me for? So you need to begin to tell yourself some home truths. And so I wrote it down. The first line came. I wrote it in pencil. To be a superior quality or to provide superior quality bakery experience. And I will erase. Why am I putting bakery experience? I don't just bake. I do other things. I love to teach. I love to train. I teach capacity. I teach other things like beyond bakery business. I teach people how to understand their goals, how to write, how to speak. There are a lot of things about me. And I realized in that time of my business, the kind of people I was bringing in to work with me were low-skilled workers, people who didn't have an education like me, people who, even though they stand and they look at what you're doing 10 times in a day and you tell them to do it, they still wouldn't get it. Okay, I had to devise a means in a way where I could teach them and bring them into my world. So you see how that process was for me. So I wrote to provide superior bakery experience. I didn't say to provide superior quality cakes. Am I making sense? Good. So when I wrote that down, I felt like it wasn't complete. And that's why I said no one can do this process for you. You can't just go on the internet and get it. No. So I wrote that, yes, we make cakes, but I wasn't happy. And that's the truth. Then I began to think, and then the words began to come. And then when I wrote it down, I literally put my pen down and I smiled because finally I found what made me tick. And the second part of our mission is to inspire and raise excellent cake culture. And once I wrote that down, I felt like a breather. All right? A lot of you here don't like to teach. I love to teach. I'm in my jam when I'm teaching people. Do you understand? So I wrote that down. If you do not have a mission, it will not allow the people that are even around you to know what you are doing. So once I put those two things down, the mission, and then the vision, what's the vision? I wrote this vision down. And my goodness, your vision needs to scare you. If you write the vision down and you're like, oh, no, you need to write that vision and laugh at yourself. Are you sure? Do you understand what I mean? So let me give you an example of the kind of vision we wrote down. To be the most reputable online bakery in Africa. And when I wrote it, I was like, am I really serious? I didn't even write Ikeja. I didn't even write Lagos. I wrote Africa. But that same year, was the year we were able to enter into ShopRite stores. Is ShopRite not an African company? So you forget about the happening. Once you write it down, there's a way you connect yourself with that energy. And it will be wrong for me to discuss vision and mission with you without talking about the core values. Now, the core values are the set of attributes you need to imbibe to help you manage and get to where you are going. So I wrote down, what are our core values? As a person, as an individual, we run an online store. And so we needed to have something called integrity, so that when people go online and want to shop something, it's exactly what they have ordered that gets to them. So I needed to learn and write it down. Oh, respect. I am so big on respect. I work with a lot of low-skilled workers. I have some staff that I pay, they didn't go to school, but I pay them almost more than I pay people that went to university. There's a place for respect, place for respect of the tools we use. Some of the tools that I use are older than my children. Some of the tools that I have today, they're older than some of my staff. And you know what respect does? When you respect something, you respect your recipe, you respect the people around you, you respect that whole cake that was made. When it goes to the customer, it comes back to you as respect, doesn't it? So for me, respect was critical. And once I understood what all those core values were, and we wrote them down, I blew it up. And I pasted it in my office for my staff and I to see on a daily basis. And then the job began to begin to teach the people around me to become like me. Now, you're here today, your staff are not here. All right? And it would be nice if you come to environments like this, you can bring one or two of your staff so they can listen. There's no way you would take down what you have learned here today and go and give it to them. Do you understand what I mean? So you need to understand the fact that the people who work with you are partners in progress. So when I realized that these people are partners in progress with me, I began to pay a lot more attention to them. I can decide to close my office for 1 week and do what? Staff training. And do what? That's why if you go into like when they were talking about the kind of products you should have. We, for example, we have 3 layers of products. We have the custom, the signature, and the mass. The custom products are let's put all the jazz for you. They're quite expensive. Signature, I don't mind, but I don't want it to be too expensive. And the budget, rock bottom. Do you understand what I mean? So for every time we developed a new product, I had to train my staff. Not just training of this is how it is, we began to document. So that's another thing about structure. Structure is understanding that you need to put things down in pen and paper so that everybody does it exactly the way it is being said to be done. I kid you not, if you call my office right now, the admin staff will respond to you in a certain way. It's been documented. If you send an email to them, they're going to respond to you in a certain way. If you send them a chat on WhatsApp, they're going to respond to you in a certain way. I had to do that work. So we created templates for each and every part of the departments we have, all right, and their documentation. Because I don't know about you, the kind of graduates that are coming in right now, you as an employer of labor, you have a lot of work to do. In fact, if you want to hire, you can't just call someone and say, I need a staff. Can you send me your sister? No. It's gotten to the stage where you need to be deliberate and write down what the task is. What will this person be doing? And based on that, you put your job description out there. And you do the grueling work of getting people and asking them questions. Let me tell you how deep it is. Now, because we run an online store, 99% of our customers connect with us via tech, okay? And so because I'm really big on that, we've done a lot of investments to make sure that people who want to order from us is quite simple. But at the end of the day, someone needs to pick up the call, right? Good. So I remember those days that I was very busy, frustrated. I didn't know how to hire. I was desperate, all right? So we got one lady in to do the admin for us. So no matter how beautiful we looked on the outside, when the customer picks up the call, they're going to speak to this lady, right? And I just heard the lady just say, hello, dentist affairs. I said, OMG, where did I get this from? You know, what I learned with that lady is it helped me channel our energy for that specific position when we wanted to hire. So I asked specific questions, and there's a portion during the interview where we give you a book and tell you to read a part of the book. What we're listening to is your H factor, your I factor, your command of English. Someone who is speaking the phone for you cannot be boring. They can't. So a lot of you need to even go back now and apologize to your staff because you have given them a role they are not able to function in and you haven't even trained them. Am I making sense? So these are some of the things we needed to do to build this thing called structure. And then even if we build it, we still owe these people the ability to appraise them, to make sure they are doing what we have trained them to do. So I always say the bakery system is divided into operations and what's it called? Admin. Your admin are the people who do all the phone calls, the HR, your accounting, while your operations are the real people who do the work. And if you're running a kind of cake business like I'm running, the admin and the operations, though we work together, they cannot do each other's work. So it's important that your admin can take the information they've gotten from the customer and give it to an uneducated person in such a way that they will understand and not ruin your business, isn't it? If you fail to do things like this, you will find out that your business constantly needs you before it can operate. And that in itself is not sustainable. Now, it was when we began to structure our business that I began to have time to do other things. I began to go into other things that, I love to do. There was even a time I did a voiceover for a cartoon. I couldn't believe it. There's so much about you. I tell people you are much more than baking. There are other things about you that you still haven't even recognized because you have built a business that is only reliant on you to work. And guess what? During the lockdown, for example, because I had groomed myself to run a business that was structured, I found out that for the 2 months we actually closed the business, I didn't bake a single cake. But I made much more money from doing other things outside a cake business. Does that make sense to you now? So this thing called structure, it's a call. You have to figure it out. You need to attend seminars like this. You need to pour yourself into other kind of trainings that are outside baking and decorating. I mean, we all can bake, we all can decorate. Can't we? There's some people that don't even bake as much as you do, but they have learned strategy and they're able to position themselves in a way whereby they're able to earn passive income. So if you're here today and you can do something with your hands, you can definitely monetize it. But at the end of the day, if all you're doing is seeing cake and flour and sugar as your only means to survival, there's a problem with that. So let me backtrack a bit now. So once we have decided what our vision, our mission, and our core values are, we need to also understand the kind of products. We now have to narrow down to the products we want to sell, right? Now, I've just given you a hint of the kind of products we sell. We have the mass, we have the custom, and we have the signature. Now, what are these custom products? These are products that they are one, like, it has to be done by Mrs. Ogunjimi. Okay? And because they have to be done by me, they're charged a certain way. Okay? And then we have the signature products. Products that my staff have done and I have done over a few months, so they don't really need my attention. And then the mass products are that one, conveyor belts. They don't need me for a single thing. All right? And those ones are priced really cheaply. So you need to figure out what you do well. What do you do well? And if you don't do that thing well, if you needed to spend some money to develop your ability to be able to know how to do that thing, what will it be? I'm speaking today. I've become someone who speaks. I didn't used to speak before. I'm very shy. But when I realized that it's something I enjoyed to do, I began to develop myself in that capacity. And let me tell you how I did that. Every Monday morning, I will call my staff together, choose a topic, stand in front of them, and I'll begin to speak. They can't make fun of me, can they? No, they can't. And that's how I was able to develop that part of Lolade that speaks. Do you understand what I mean? But if I said to myself, oh, I'm a shy person, I can't speak, people will make fun of me, you're literally shooting yourself in the foot because there's a whole world of opportunity out there that is waiting for you at the side of your doing. So after I began to develop that, and my staff needed people who would talk to them. I've just told them they don't have my drive, my education, my dream. They don't have the kind of vision I have. They are just working in survival mode. What am I going to make today, isn't it? You are the one with the vision. If you had left your work today, I'm sure a lot of you are going back to go and deal with one cake or the other. If you have left those type of work to sit down here today, it means you're passionate about this work you are doing. And the earlier you know how to do it, the better. So once I figured out what those menus were, I wrote them down. I now began to figure out a system that would allow us to have pictorials. Guys, if you're here today, you're an entrepreneur, you have to be a content creator. Let's not even joke about it. And you being a content creator, nobody can tell your story the way you can tell your story. So you need to learn how to build a story around the work you're doing on a daily basis. You have become your own television. No? Some of you that have issues with publicity, that's really the issue. Before you even come out and show the world what you are doing, have you even decided what kind of cake maker you want to be known as? If we ask you to give us a picture of yourself, what would that picture look like? So I always tell people, in this thing called structure, the first person you are structuring is yourself. I hope you know that. Yes. If you do not structure yourself, everyone is just going to take you anyhow. But if you understand what you are doing in your business, it helps you to streamline. This is what I'm accepting. This is what I'm not accepting. This is what I'm taking. No, I'm not going there. So if you look at dainty affairs, for example, we don't follow trends. I'm so old school. We do not follow trends. I understand what we're doing because we have mission, vision, and we have core values. And then once you have decided and worked on yourself, you now work on your staff. You now do what? It's not just about training your staff on how to actually do that work. You begin to do something I call brainwashing to your staff. Can I hear you say that word? Because these people don't have the exposure that you have. For example, our documentation for cleaning the toilet is documented. The people we hire as cleaners, they are very important to us. Because no matter how busy we are in the bakery, I can't clean. People baking and decorating can't clean. So their role is very important. And because their role is very important, we have to document exactly what we require of them. So we can't go to the toilet and say, oh, the toilet is dirty. No. There's a system. There's a documentation that makes sure they go into the toilet to do X, Y, Z. There's also a system and a documentation that tells them how to clean the toilet dainty style. Do you understand? So you can't just bring people around you and say, no, do this, do this. No. You teach them how to do it. And you build a system that makes sure they do it well. And then also, very important, you need to build a system that rewards your staff or disciplines them. You need to build a system that does what? Reward and discipline. I know you may be here today, you don't have staff, but this is how you plan. This is how you plan. Some of you are here, you have just one staff, that's fine. But one staff will become two, two become three, three become four. And the problem is, if you don't have structure around you, the more you have people, you will find out that you're dealing with people matter than cake matter. So it's very important that you do that. So what I want to say here today is, effective structuring of your cake business is long overdue. It is long overdue. But the first thing you need to do is, first and foremost, understand who you are. What is your shape? What are your spiritual gifts? What's your heart, your abilities, your personality? What are your experiences? My experience with Virgin Atlantic, for example, I worked there for about 5 years, and I worked in the capacity of customer service. For a long time, I thought I was wasting my time there. But to a large extent, when I look at my time at Virgin Atlantic, they actually taught me how to be present, in front of customers, to deal with people from all spheres of life, to be able to speak on the phone. And the opportunity I had with Virgin Atlantic, they would travel us all over the world to go and learn how to do our ticketing very well. I look back now and I see that time of my life was able to help me to a large extent to what I'm doing today. So don't despise what you're doing today. If you need the training, go out there. I've literally just scratched the surface. But I'm going to end by saying this. Structure is a marathon. It is not a sprint. You might put a lot of things in place and find out that things are still not going the way you want it to go. You have to hold the course. You have to do what? Cake business is very lucrative. But you just don't look at it as lucrative. You have to keep putting back, and you have to be very, very, very diligent. Consistency is also very important. Constantly doing what is right and putting yourself out there. Don't be a man who is winking in the dark. Only you know what you're doing. Nobody else knows. I think I can close with that, right? Thank you very much for your time.